Hey there neighbors, welcome back to the channel. This is Anarchy in the 603, and you are back here for yet another postcard from your friendly neighborhood anarchist, absolutely nobody's favorite, off-dome dispatch, D-tier production quality, lightly edited, and sent straight from here where I'm sitting to wherever you happen to be right now. And intro's a little discombobulated today because I am trying to knit a ridiculously long hat while talking to you guys. Anyway, I want to do a quick shout out to my newest subscriber, Birdie. So yeah, what I want to talk about today actually was inspired by a little conversation thread I had with Birdie in the comments section of Saros TV. And that was about cross-generational friendships. Like, I had the good fortune in the 90s of being a teenager who happened to fall into a social circle that was full of people my age and then 10 to 20 years above. Not gonna lie, it did get, you know, a little inappropriate at times, and that is a caveat to look into and to think about. But I believe that if you are a person, you know, who is adult, that it's important to maintain relationships across generational lines in order to maintain a healthy perspective on things. Like, I had my son young, was married at 22, had my son at 23, and he is now 23 going on 24. I was never one of those, you know, parents who's a friend first, but I am fortunate that now that he is a young adult, we do have that kind of relationship where we can talk very much more like peers than ever before. And also, when he was a teenager, our house was that safe house where you could go as a kid if you didn't have a great parental life, which unfortunately a lot of kids he knew didn't. And, you know, you could sleep safe on a warm bed or on a warm couch with doors that lock from the inside, get yourself a hot meal, and a place where you don't have to worry about having your bodily autonomy, like, violated and anything like that. And so a lot of these kids are now young adults themselves, some of whom are even starting families of their own and stuff. And I am lucky to be bonus mom to them, these kids who are now in their 20s. And I have some younger friends in their 30s. I also have friends who are 10 and 20 years older than me. And some of the most valuable conversations that I have are with elderly folks. See, the thing is, like, yes, it's important to talk to the folks older than us who have lived through things that maybe we haven't, or who may see things from a different generational perspective because of their long view, because they've been around. But also, it's important to stay connected with people in your community who are younger. Because, like, I don't know about you guys, but I sure as hell have a lot of feedback, to put it gently, about how I was parented. And, like, I know for a fact that my feedback is valid, you know? Like, they did some things right. I am not going to deny they did some things right, but there are many things that they did wrong. And any person who comes up through any system, be it being raised by a family or coming up through the ranks in a job, you are going to see areas where you've got some valid feedback. Like, you know what, this fucked me up. No, this did not work for me. No, this really was an issue. And, like, who the hell are we to think that we're so great that we can't stand to get a little negative feedback or get a little pushback for some of the things that we did or the things that we thought? Like, are we all so smug within ourselves to think that the people that we raised maybe have some thoughts about how we did that? I certainly don't think that we should feel that we're above that kind of thing, you know? And so, absolutely, like, when I see the discourse of the day, I look to people from all over the age spectrum as well as the color and class spectrum, because in order to see the entirety of, like, a thing, like, seeing the forest and the trees, right? Like, some people can't see the trees for the forest, some people can't see the forest for the trees, but honestly, if you assess things right, you can do both. Talk to a forestry major. They can tell you the general shape and size of that forest that they're managing, and they can tell you the general content of the trees. Like, my forest over here, I can tell you just by pointing to the deadfall on the ground and everything, where the mostly pine gets taken over by a ton of oak. It switches over. Like, you can see the forest and the trees and the other fauna and flora that live there, like the wild blueberries and the lady slipper orchids and the ferns that all make up that ecosystem. And, like, that's the thing. Oftentimes we get so siloed away into hearing just what our peers have to say, that we aren't pulling back to see the whole ecosystem. We're not pulling back to think about how our actions now may impact generations that come after us, or may impact those who are already here. And we don't think about our responsibilities to those other people because we get so damn busy looking at our own self-interest that, like, it's impossible to truly address the scope of what's happening in the world if all you're doing is looking at the very special interests and needs of your niche community or group. Even if your community or group happens to be a large one, it's still not going to cover the needs and the drives and desires of the community as a whole. And so, of course, I encourage people, if you can, get out there in your community. Like, go to your local library, go to one of the various arts and crafts groups they've got there, or game nights, or find your local community center and or community billboard or bulletin board, and see what they've got going on. Because I tell you, you might be surprised at the variety of people that you can get to know, and just how much you can have in common with them, despite maybe on the surface not so much. If anything, especially these days, it's getting more and more important to get out into our communities and get to know people. And if it's not in your own neighborhood, then why not in your own city or town? Get out there, meet some folks who are of various age groups, who are of various classes, colors, creeds, whatever. Shake some damn hands, get to know some people, and enjoy this beautiful spring weather we're having. Anyway, a little short video for you guys today. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Anarchy in the 603. I got some knitting to do and the grandkid to pick up from school shortly, so I'm gonna go. Have a beautiful day. I am out.